Morning Brief live on Channels Television. We're broadcasting from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma. A lot is happening, so much talking points, and we're super excited that you could join us on the show this morning. Guys and lady, okay, guys, everybody. She said so.
Well, it's wonderful to be back after what turned out to be a weekend of mixed bag, but, you know, the Super Eagles gave us reason to rejoice. So, yeah, we're going into the week with that energy and hopefully more victories. Good morning and welcome. I am Bukola Koka.
Hey, Monday means motivation on this side, so we're hoping to infect you with all of the energy, the motivation, and the very best. I'm Kayode Fikulu. Welcome to the show.
Guys, there are layers of things to talk about. And look, this is one of those Mondays where you're super excited because you're coming with so much that happened at the weekend. There are some weekends like, okay, what exactly happened this weekend? We just went to sleep, you know, had party and all of that. But this weekend, so many eventful incidents or happenings around. Whether you look at politics, you look at entertainment, you look at sports and all of that. I don't know how your weekend stood out for you without necessarily, you know, exposing too many things. So let me start with Kayode.
I don't have anything to hide. Moreover, it's just two of us here, so nobody's listening is there. I think naturally the elections, the by-elections across the board, the big one, the political part which you talked about, and you just ask yourself, have things really changed? Are they the same? Let us know if there were elections in your side. Did you see any major difference? So that was something that stood out for me. Secondly, of course, would be Nigeria's match. Had we started the weekend then?
Yeah, it was Friday. It was Friday.
Okay,
Friday started on the weekend, yeah.
Why is it Saturday and Sunday as weekend, honestly?
Friday
doesn't qualify as weekend.
Well,
because it's back weekend. It introduces you into the weekend.
Yeah, so the match, Osimhen's goal being disallowed, that was a major downer for me. And of course the Grammys, guys. Not forgetting the power outage, the power grid collapse. There's no order, actually, but those were the four things that really stood out for me over the weekend.
Well, for me, the Eagles' victory, whether or not one goal was disallowed, the important thing was that they were able to, you know, secure that victory for Nigerians. And it's, you know, whether you like it or not, it's a lot of positive energy. It's a good reason to rejoice. You know, it triggers all of those what do they call it now? All of those
excitement.
Hormones. Right. Yeah, thank you, Kayode.
I see where you're going.
Yeah.
Hormones are difficult to pronounce.
Norepinephrine.
Dopamine. And Nigerians need a lot of that at this time, you know, when things are pretty hard. Well, the Grammys was a bit disappointing, you know, considering the harvest of nominations that Nigerians got. And, you know, those categories, you have very, very good competitive music that Nigerians have been able to compose. So for us not to get one award was a bit disappointing.
Well, there's a lot to talk about, but hey, we're going to look at it in different phases. For me, besides all you said, I remember what Kayode talked about, the power outage. I don't know. We need to fix our power. Like, I don't understand why for over 60 years we can't fix power. We need to do something about power in the country. But that's not all we have for you on the show. We have loads of other things for you today on the show. Now, when you hear of artificial intelligence, what exactly comes to your mind? Now, some persons are worried about its potential danger or how it will end their careers, while others are simply milking the opportunities it creates. But sometimes the good can be the enemy of the best, and there may be a fine line between good and evil, which is why we'll be looking at the responsible use of AI on the show today.
Indeed, that will be quite a conversation, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are as well. Well, away from that, sound is one of the most powerful forces of communication. So important to life that it is considered one of human senses, and a lack of it is viewed with concern, requiring remedy. But there is another dimension to interaction when it comes from rhythmic sounds laced with melody from a talking drum. A maestro, in that regard, walks us through an ancient art with modern relevance, especially for Africa.
Absolutely.
So stick around for that.
That's the soft side of the conversation. Well, that's not all we have for you. Plus, and the Grammy goes to, you've heard that before. Now, that's one of the phrases at the world's biggest music night that, you know, no one is ever comfortable with, because it could be anybody, literally. Well, that anxiety is what these Nigerians and South African felt at the 66th Grammy Awards, which wrapped up just some hours ago, and they focused on it with rapt attention for the newly added 60-second category for Best African Music Performance, and it came down to one winner. Well, in other categories, it also came down to another set of winners. So we'll take a look at the awards. What exactly went down, why it went down, how it went down, and, well, the lessons from the Grammys.
Well, there's a lot to talk about. We always say that, but hey, we are not the only ones talking on the show today. We want you to be part of the conversation on the show. So share your thoughts with us on X, CTV Morning Brief, or send us your message on WhatsApp. We'll be right here to make sure it gets heard and amplified as much as possible. But do not hesitate to do it as much as possible, because that is why we're here. If you have newsworthy videos as well, hey, we're here to make sure we amplify it. I will always use that word because that's what television is really all about. But you're live on the Morning Brief. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll give you our top stories for the day. Join us again. Top on the brief this morning, it was an eventful weekend in the politics with sports and politics, literally grabbing the headlines. But perhaps the most cheering news at the weekend is the release and return of abducted pupils and teachers of Apostolic Faith Montessori School in Emure, Ekiti State, who were kidnapped on January 29. The children and the teachers were released on Sunday, but their driver was not quite fortunate as he was killed by the abductors. Although a senior police officer and the Ekiti State government had confirmed the victims were released and brought to the palace of Elumere, but were silent on the initial demands of the abductors. However, for Governor Biodun Oyebanji, who visited the victims at the hospital in Ado Ekiti, the intervention of the president was the necessary one.
I'm thankful to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for a swift response to this. His intervention made all the difference. I'm extremely grateful, and I also thank all the security chiefs. All of them put something together. They mobilized men and materials to ensure that they will rescue them. I'm extremely grateful to all of them. I commend the Honorable Commissioner for Health and his team for their swift response too, because early this morning when I spoke to him, he was already in Emure. And I love the mobilization to bring them here. And I've gone around, I've looked at all of them, they're stable. And they'll be here until they are found to be medically fit to go back home. We are going to have a security meeting to ensure that this does not happen again. Well, I sympathize and I condole with the family of the departed. I've dispatched the Deputy Governor to go to Emure to go and commiserate with them and to commiserate with KBC.
I can tell you that the police have arrested 13 suspects in connection with the killing of monarchs and those kidnapped young pupils. The AIG of police, Dare Ogundare, disclosed it while parading the suspect and also made confessional statement at the police headquarters in Ado Ekiti. So that's a good development for the security agencies and for all citizens of Nigeria. Let's move up north, where 4 police officers were not lucky as they were killed by Boko Haram terrorists in Garizam of Nganza, local government area of Borno State. The terrorists are said to have infiltrated the community at almost midnight and went straight to attack the police station while the officers on duty were asleep, setting the station ablaze. That's about 82 kilometers away from the capital of Maiduguri, that's in Borno State, that's Maiduguri. The latest attack adds to the log of incidents of insecurity that has resurfaced in the northeastern states. Let's now switch gears to politics with some update from Saturday's state and national assemblies, rerun and by-elections that took place in almost 9,000 polling units across 26 states of the Federation. Some of the results declared by INEC so far shows that the APC won the 2 senatorial by-elections in Yobe East and Ebonyi South senatorial district, where Mr. Mustafa polled 68,778 votes and Professor Anthony Ani scored over 46,000 votes to emerge winners respectively. Other winners are APC's Ifeda Hindero for Akoko North East and Northwest Federal Constituency in Ondo State, Fort Lagoda of Surulere 1 Federal Constituency in Lagos, while PDP's Umar Yusuf or Yabo Shagari Federal Constituency in Sokoto and Jajare Mohammed Buba of Fika Fune Federal Constituency in Yobe won their rerun elections as the Young Progressives Party in Anambra State won all the House of Representatives seats in a similar election. Well, in the meantime, by the way, you can go to our website, channelstv.com, to check out the full list of all the winners as those results continue to trickle in from the by and rerun election. Let's move on now. The federal government has committed to an effective rail system in alignment with its industrialization drive. That position was conveyed by the managing director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, Mr. Fide Okiria, during an exclusive interview with Channels Television. Mr. Okiria explains how the government is deliberately rehabilitating and enhancing sections of the rail, one of which is the Port Harcourt-Kaduna route, which should be ready by the first quarter of 2024, according to him.
First quarter of this year, we'll be able to start running Lagos to Kano. I will also say I'm very happy. We did that quietly in-house, restored the track, and as we speak, by last week, Wednesday, a locomotive will be able to move from Lagos to Kaduna. Okay. And we have also been able to move from Kaduna to Kano. We hope within next week, all those coaches that we are left behind Kaduna, they are working on them now. So we move them without people, but our staff. That's what we call a trial run to transit from Kano to Lagos. And we will also do other trial runs before we can declare it open and use it for goods and passengers. That's where we are on Lagos to Kano. And Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, while we are looking for funds to do also engage in modernization, the government felt that if you stop operating on Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, people will forget that the rail ever existed, and a contract was given to Chinese to reconstruct, not just to do it. You have to increase what called the ASO load, remove the gradients, remove those reverse curves, and strengthen the bridges so that it can carry more load.
You can watch that interview and the complete conversation on Newsnight at 9 p.m. later in the day. In preparation for its primary schedule for February 22nd, the People's Democratic Party, PDP in Edo State, has conducted the 3 ad hoc delegate congress in all the 192 wards ahead of the state. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki, who was among the voters for the election in Oredo local government area, Ward 4, described the whole process as peaceful and credible, while the chairman of the ad hoc congress and governor of Enugu State, Mr. Peter Mba, commended the exercise.
PDP is the best organized party in this country. I've been in 2 parties, so I know. And from what I have seen in terms of the administration of a party, you cannot beat PDP. They have very laid down processes. They follow the constitutions clearly.
Myself, as the chairman of the committee, the electoral committee, and my colleague members, we went to a number of wards where we found out that the turnout was huge and the process was free, fair, and credible.
Well, but apparently some of the aspirants for that governorship primaries, excluding Asue Godalo, are not pleased with how things were conducted and are raising concerns. They are alleging foul play on the part of the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party. Let's move on now to business news, where the central bank has restricted the operations of the international money transfer operators known as IMTOs to only inbound transfers, stopping outbound transfers. By this policy directive, IMTOs can no longer facilitate money transfers from Nigeria to other countries due to the revised guidelines for the operations of IMTOs, which were officially released on January 31st, 2024. The policy marks a shift in the regulatory landscape for FX and remittance services, as well as differ from the 2014 guidelines which permitted the operators to engage in allowable inbound and outbound international money transactions and transfers. This will definitely generate talking points as well as trigger market dynamics. Let's head out to the international scene, where more forceful response against Iran-backed Houthi rebels may be expected in the coming days over the Jordan drone attack that killed 3 U.S. troops a week ago. The U.S. accused Iran of being behind the attack and on Friday launched airstrikes on Iran-backed targets in Iraq and Syria. But Iran says the accusations were baseless. However, Islamic resistance in Iraq and Iran-backed militia later claimed responsibility. The U.S. National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, says there will be further action in retaliatory strikes, while a member of the Houthi Political Council, Mohammed al-Bukhati, on X, commits to more escalations against the U.S. and what he describes as American-British aggression against the Yemen, amongst others. Let's now talk sports. On Tuesday, the Super Eagles of Nigeria will move to Bouake from Abidjan for their semi-final Africa Cup of Nations against South Africa. That's Bafana Bafana. The 3-time champions conducted their preparations for the encounter in Abidjan on Sunday and will also train in the city today, but will have the official training on arrival in Côte d'Ivoire, second city, tomorrow afternoon. When Côte d'Ivoire hosted their only previous Africa Cup of Nations finals 40 years ago, Nigeria also played their semi-final match in the city of Bouake against Egypt, with the Super Eagles winning the game 8-7 on penalties after a 2-2 draw. Well, we're going to be looking out for that particular award on Wednesday. Those are your top stories, and we have more for you when we come back after this break. Join us again. Welcome back. We're now switch gears to our very first conversation for the day, and we'll be talking artificial intelligence. What is this all about? It's been literally a buzzword in the last years, and it's changing the dynamics of how we travel, how we prosecute war and business. So what exactly is this all about? That's why we're being joined by the people in the know. We're being joined by the country director of Microsoft Nigeria, Ms. Ola Williams. Madam, thank you so much for coming on the program, and welcome.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Absolutely.
Well, a lot of people have heard AI, and it means different things to different people. So my initial outlook will be posing it to you as helping us to unpack some of the possibilities of this unique idea called AI, because maybe you start by the definition or a basic explanation, then expand to some of the possibilities that this has for us as Africans and specifically Nigerians, and then we can move from there.
Thank you very much for that question. I know so many people are interested in AI, what it means, how does it impact them, how does it affect their life. And it's an interesting conversation to have because whether we like it or not, AI has come to stay. It's already influencing our life today. So when we talk about AI, we all know that it's a short form for artificial intelligence. It's just machine mimicking how humans behave, and it is to help us to be more productive, to focus our ingenuity on how we can really bring a lot of creativity as human, drive sustainable growth in different aspects of life, whether it's in business or in education or even the way we play, just as you said. I mean, a lot of us are on social media. We've seen how in different ways things have been, bubble off to us based on our interests. These are driven by AI, and there is so many use cases in different industries. But as more people, get to understand AI, use it, but use it responsibly, then it will be more beneficial to everyone. And when we put it in the context of African continent, based on the fact that we have technology driving our life today, and African continent is the home to the youngest population across the globe, then we have a huge opportunity to leverage AI to transform Africa, not only in form of using technology, but also be the global power to leverage AI to build new business opportunities, create job opportunities for Africans, and help Africa to actually be at forefront of leveraging technology. So we have a unique opportunity here, but of course we need to understand how do we leverage this potential that AI have in Africa for Africans, and to help the global, to help drive innovation and create solutions to African problems leveraging AI technology. We have that opportunity, and I think we need to discuss how can we make sure that we enable that.
Well, before we begin to talk about the possibilities, maybe we should focus our lens on the risks first of all. In a world of deep voices and deep fakes, have we been prepared in the form of legislation to be able to rein in on these extremes and how they affect, our society, how they affect individuals, personalities? For instance, at Channels Television, a lot of our anchors have had to address, the imitations of their images and their voices with the use of artificial intelligence. So have we been prepared in the form of a national legislation that will, check a lot of these extremities?
To answer that question, I'll start this way. For us at Microsoft, our drive to empower people to leverage AI is rooted in our mission to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And when we are creating technology to help human must be at the core of it, and to ensure that technology is used responsibly. And based on this philosophy, we have worked over the years to come up with principles, guiding principles on the creation of AI solutions and the use of it in a way that is beneficial to all. And rooted in those principles are our 6 principles of fairness, privacy and safety, security, transparency, inclusion, and accountability. And of course, we know that this is not something that Microsoft alone can do. We have to partner with governments, with stakeholders, academia, to ensure that we are prepared. So we are working with government. In fact, last week, one of our senior leaders came from Redmond. Anthony Cook was in Nigeria, visiting our customers, hearing from them how they're using AI, what are the challenges that they're seeing, and how can we take those feedback back into building solution that is relevant for Africa. And we also met with government, and one of the people that he met with government is the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, to talk about how can we support in building the right policy. And you know that today the minister had already launched AI strategy for Nigeria, building on the work that Nita has done on AI policy. I would say it's a journey. Yes, we are on that right trajectory to make sure that happens. But of course, it will take concerted effort. Private sector, government stakeholders, academia, non-for-profits, and of course, all the stakeholders in the tech ecosystem to build on that. And learning from what we have done on that collaborative effort, we are also bringing into bear into the conversations that we're having with government.
I wonder personally if you get this a lot, people look at you and say, wait a minute, you work in Microsoft. Is there some AI to you right now? Do you have a chip in your back? People ask you that kind of question. But that's just on the lighter side. I'm thinking about what you're saying now, and I'm looking at the possibilities, really. A lot of people have, of course, their fears and the rest, but as has been said, you can always see opportunities. Now we had, the power grid issues over the weekend, and I'm thinking, how can AI actually help our nation when it comes to the power sector? We had challenges with elections.
Correct.
I'm thinking, how can AI actually help us to resolve some of those issues? So I'm looking forward to having AI solve some of these challenges that we have. But you said something quite instructive that I want to follow up on. You said that your policy at Microsoft is that humans will be at the core of AI. And that's an irony, because when you hear AI, what a lot of people think is AI is pushing people out, essentially. But you say humans will be at the core of it. So how are you trying to find a balance? Because I imagine it's a tricky balance. A lot of people think once AI is here, I lose my job. I become, out of fashion, and then I am useless in quote, but you are trying to put human beings at the core. How does that work?
So I hear that a lot, where people have their reservations and fears about AI. But if we mention the issue correctly, and looking at how we position AI, the concept of Copilot itself, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about Microsoft Copilot, and it is just the way we envision that AI will partner with human to drive innovation, creativity. Copilot, in a way, ensures that human actually have the ultimate decision. So it's not an autopilot, not that AI is taking control. For example, Copilot is infused into your Word document or your Teams meeting. After the meeting, it can help you to summarize the meeting and give a view of it. But ultimately, you are the final decision maker into what you want to push out based on the summary that Copilot provide for you. So we're saying that AI hasn't come to replace human. In fact, AI has come to help us to remove mundane tasks that human being engages on daily in their work, so that human can really focus on being productive and being more creative. So for example, today, the time that I spend on summarizing meetings, AI does that for me. I can only read through and say, okay, by the way, this summary is good, and make a few edits. So that shortens the time that I take in summarizing meeting, maybe from 2 hours or 1 hour to like 5 minutes. So that 55 minutes, I can put it into something more productive that will really benefit the business and eventually benefit the society. So our message is that AI hasn't come to replace human, because human creativity is, we all can attest to that is almost unlimited. But human have to be at the core of understanding how AI can benefit them. And I get it. When we can think back several years ago, when electricity was being invented or internet was being invented, people will have their reservation. And as many people that understand that this is a change that has come to stay, skill up themselves for it, prepare themselves for it, are relevant. Maybe if we don't have internet, we don't have technology, I won't be sitting here talking to you as the country manager of Microsoft, right? So AI will provide opportunity for our young Nigerians for new jobs that we don't even envisage today. We're talking about cybersecurity experts today because there is internet, because there is cyber solution, because we have a lot of people using technology across the globe. The same way, AI will provide new opportunities, even for generations yet unborn. So what is prudent today is that people try to understand AI and how it can help them to be more productive. Embrace it, and the more people that uses AI, the better it is, especially for us in Africa. Because when we look at the study done on AI Readiness Index, Africa is still lagging behind on a number of things. One, on connectivity, of course, also in terms of skill, and we can see that maybe 1 in every 14 data scientists is an African. And that's a limitation on itself, because the amount of data sets that we have, especially almost everyone is using generative AI. The amount of data sets that speak to African context is still limited today. So if we are all afraid of AI and we're not participating, we're not using it, we are missing out. And we have an opportunity not to miss out, because cloud computing, internet has provided a level playing field for every continent to really benefit from AI. But it's up to us to say we want to understand it. Companies, leaders should understand AI. Individuals within organizations need to understand AI. Also develop themselves to be able to be relevant in the evolution that AI has brought into how we work, how we play, and all that we do.
Fantastic. Now, I'm looking at, we're going to explore some of the macroeconomic elements that AI can help, like is mentioned in terms of the challenges we have as a people. But trickling it down to students now, are you worried, or those of you who are experts, that's what I mean by you now, are you worried that some of the things that AI is bringing to the table is going to affect scholarship rigor that is required for academics, where people now just go and they can do their project without necessarily stressing themselves? Because going to school, you're expected to have that level of scholarship rigor to be awarded a degree. Are you worried?
So this is the way I'll respond to it. There will always be some level of challenges in every evolving technology. But in terms of education, I don't want to look at it as a worry. Yes, you did mention that people can go take things, but the same AI can also help you to check plagiarism. So as you are looking at it from one hand, you're also looking at the same AI as a tool to check all this that will potentially make people to be, how you want to put it, not putting the right level of rigor. But what the access to information, access to tools that AI enables students will even help them to be, to activate their creativity faster. So if it takes you maybe several weeks to be able to put some some information together for your schoolwork, then maybe with AI you can do that in less than a day. Then you can now think through how what you are bringing can really solve problem, rather than looking at spending a lot of your time on trying to gather information. I think that is the best way to look at it. And also to educate our students on the best way to use AI. That AI hasn't come to make you to be lazy and go just put things together. But AI has come to help you to even be more creative in your studies and really prepare yourself to be a leader in your field. So I think that is the way we should look at it. And I think for me, what is also important is that academia are also brought into the conversation. And that's what we do at Microsoft. We look at everyone and bring them in a way that will help to ensure that they are also using AI in a responsible manner. And that's why all our guiding principle actually speaks to that. When you speak about transparency, AI can actually enable that even if I copy something, with AI we can detect that has been done.
Speaking of worries still and what you do at Microsoft, back to the point about deep voices and deep fakes. One of the things that enables the spread of these outcomes by AI is the search engines, Microsoft, Chrome, Google. What are these search companies doing to ensure that the algorithms that throw up these results are flagged and tagged? Because this goes a long way to, spread fake news and damage personalities.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, and those concerns are valid. But for us, we are making a lot of investment, especially with our partnership with OpenAI, to ensure that all this, we are able to mitigate most of these challenges. And we also give our users the opportunity to give us feedback, report issues. If you look at Bing today, users have opportunity to be able to report any incidents in such manner that they see. And Bing can also provide suggestions to say, look, these are the sources where this information that you are seeing are coming from. So daily, we continue to invest in ways to ensure that we're able to mitigate some of these challenges. I think it's part of the journey that we have to go through, and that's why it is important that everyone is involved, that people don't shy away or, see AI as something that they don't want to get involved with because of the fear. The more people are able to contribute to it, the more we're able to learn faster and re-innovate better.
I'm very interested in this conversation because of the possibilities, really, and you can see all of us are we're digging deep into it, looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly, as it were. But we can talk about how a lot of people fear that AI will take over the world, super intelligent AI, because we watched Terminator, right? And we saw we saw how things ended there. So there is that fear, and people are thinking, is this the end of the world starting right now? But then there are opportunities. So I'd like you to speak to the young Nigerian out there who is probably searching for a job and looking for a way to be better at life. What opportunities are there for that young Nigerian with AI? The unemployed, even the older generation. It'll interest you that you find a lot of older people talking AI now. They're really interested. So if we would, this government says it wants to create 1 million tech jobs. There's unemployment in Nigeria is on the rise. There's lots of challenges. So what are let me just use the term, the money-making ventures that AI can provide for Nigerians? I'm talking about the applicabilities now.
Good question, and I'll give an example. In Nigeria today, we have a number of startups that are already looking at building solution on AI. I see a Nigerian company, leverage AI using Azure AI platform to build solutions that addresses power for underserved communities. And they leverage Azure AI to target over 12,000 Nigerians that require power, clean power in underserved communities, and also using the same AI to help them to optimize their power usage. That's one example. And there are several examples like that we can provide. So the opportunity is enormous. I think for us, if you look at the opportunities in Africa, in Nigeria, it's really great. One, we have a thriving tech hub community in Nigeria. We have one of the youngest population on the continent. We have access to technology. A lot of the current young people are born in the cloud. They don't understand what the world was like without internet.
With diskettes.
Yes. So they are at a privileged position, if I may say, to really leverage AI. And the world is a global village. You can actually have a skill that is sellable across the globe, sitting in your own home and be earning from different parts of the world. So the opportunity for Africans and Nigerians to win big in this AI era is here. And we need to look at it from that perspective. And today, there are new job opportunities for AI. We're talking about data scientists, prompt engineers. These are the skills that people need to start learning. But the good news is, there's so many platforms that can actually enable that. Microsoft, one of the things that we're doing is to ensure that people have access to the right skills, the right tools, and the right opportunities to be able to participate in this innovation and contribute to the global economy. And we have partnered with the federal government of Nigeria through the Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy to skill 5 million Nigerians. And part of the skilling, AI is skilling program, curriculum is embedded in our skilling platform. So I encourage young Nigerians to put their energy and resources in gaining these new skills because it gives them a whole lot of new opportunities and potentials for them to be relevant and create opportunities. There are a number of organizations that are looking for tech people in AI-related field. But there are so many unemployed people, but they don't have that relevant skills. So if we invest maybe 6 months, 1 year to develop those skills as a young person today, that means tomorrow I know that I'm relevant for the foreseeable future. So to every young Nigerians out there, please, I'll encourage you, even if you're working today, learn try to develop your skills on understanding AI. And you don't need to have a tech background. There's so many possibilities. Even understanding AI can give you insight into use cases that is applicable to your own industry, whether you are a doctor, a lawyer, or even an educationist. You can really create new opportunities for yourself just by understanding what AI brings to the table in your field and be able to bring new innovation. And of course, for leaders within organization, every leader today should be thinking about how AI will transform their business. Because if you're not doing that, your competition is doing that. And that means in another few years, it could even be months, based on what we're seeing, organizations that are focused on building the right AI strategy, the right culture to implement those strategies, and building the right skill set within the organization to be able to drive the strategy will be at the cutting edge of sustainable business versus organizations that are not thinking about it that way. So leaders also need to be involved. They need to understand AI. They need to understand the implication of it for their organization. And of course, importantly, to understand the framework to drive sustainable AI responsibly within the organization, because ignorance could also be a way of, using AI in a way that inadvertently will harm people. So it's important that everybody understand and be able to speak to it. And AI is not something that is out of reach. There are things that Microsoft are also put in place. For example, we have AI Business School. And this is a platform that provides leaders access to understand how they can build strategy for AI, what are the ways they need to craft their AI journey that will make it beneficial for their organization and avoid pitfalls that could cause harm for their organization or the intended people that it's meant to be used for.
When you talk about relevance, you have to posit it around challenges.
Correct.
And then it makes a lot of sense. And I know that Microsoft and the establishment is doing a lot. But going back to the collaboration with the federal government, maybe I would like you to expand further what other conversations you are having, because some basics in our country, we can't get it right. For instance, we don't even know how many we are. That's the truth. The last time we had the census was 2006, and we've been struggling to get this around. Fundamental things like how many are we, first and foremost, because that helps us in planning, is a challenge. Are there conversations to help us with issues around census and all of this with AI, so that at least we're able to account for our citizens and provide for them?
So, AI has come to stay. Yes, we get that. And AI, there's need for partnership with government. We get all of that. And I will say to you that we will continue our conversation with government. And just as I mentioned earlier on, part of what we're doing is also to have ongoing dialogue with government. And I will say from most of the conversation that we're having, government is also putting a lot of intervention in place to ensure that people have access. So, for example, there is an ongoing conversation around, connectivity, skilling, and also on policy. In the areas that we have direct conversation, we will continue to do that. But in terms of other aspects of government, where we have the opportunity, we have the right set of dialogue and bring the right set of technology to support government to ensure that we are able to leverage AI. And for AI feeds on data. So you are correct around ensuring that we have the right data. But of course, as the opportunity provides itself, we'll continue to have dialogue with government around how we can leverage AI to resolve or to mitigate some of the challenges that we face in the country. I will say that we have that open door, and we will continue to have the dialogue and bring the right expertise to ensure that we're able to solve for some of the challenges that we have in the country.
Speaking of the possibilities and the conversations that you're having with government, I wonder if you could take us through specific areas. For instance, Kadi asked earlier about how we can use AI to solve some of our problems. You know, it's been an ongoing conversation about how we can use AI to solve kidnapping. For instance, the children in Ikiti State were rescued, you know, but that came at some cost. The driver, you know, was found dead. How we can use AI to solve the challenge of corruption in the public service, how we can use AI, you know, to solve our electoral problems. So are there conversations around these areas where we have systemic problems in the collaboration that you are, you know, having with government? So, I mean, there's different frameworks, and we need to get everything correct, right. And it's a journey. We'll continue to build on it. One of the important things that we've seen is also having the right policy on AI, because solving for all these challenges will take a concerted effort. We need to have different stakeholders that will participate: government, you know, technology company ourselves, private sector participants, industry experts, also need to come to the party. And it's a journey. But with what government have started, with the minister launching the AI strategy for the country, we're having conversation around that. We're also having conversations around regulation, because when you build all these solutions, we need to have the right set of regulation to ensure that solutions that are being built to solve problem is not also creating another challenge for the country. So that is already going on. And we also have launched a partnership with UNDP to come up with a AI framework for the country. And that involves different stakeholders: government, academia, public sector, stakeholders as well, to ensure that we build that right framework that will contribute to the strategy that the government is trying to build. But you are right, with AI, with technology, and partnership with organizations like Microsoft, our partners, and other stakeholders, we can really use technology to solve most of the challenges that we face in the country. And we see how that is being done in other parts of the world.
I know we always say, as we wind down, that what God cannot do does not exist. Right? But a lot of people also think what AI cannot do is really, so can AI really do everything? Or we're just having too much expectations? Because people will now start saying, well, a relationship problem, let me give AI to solve it. You know, literally everything. Is AI really that multifunctional? Can it do everything or solve everything?
So, human created AI, right? AI didn't just evolve on itself, on its own. I think from my own perspective, the limitation of AI depends on human. The level of creativity that we bring to how we want to use AI will determine how far we can go. And that's why it's important, and I'll keep repeating, it's important that everyone participate. And when we put in our collective creativity power, we can really make AI the game changer, not only to drive business impact, but to also drive sustainable development for our country and for Africa at large.
Well, thank you so much. Trust me, all of us have more questions for you.
Absolutely.
As far as this AI issue is concerned, but we don't have the luxury of time. But we must thank you, Country Director of Microsoft Nigeria, Ola Williams, for coming on the program. And we'll reach out to you as much as possible when AI begins to do things that we want some explanations for.
Like a replica of me.
Some people are saying, will AI take our jobs one day? You know, all of that. So.
I hear that question a lot as well. AI, yes, some job functions will change, definitely. Just the same way job function changed when internet came. I remember I saw people that were typists on typewriter. Today they're no more. But guess what? They're doing something related to technology for those of them that get the right skill set. So anyone that get the right skill set, you know, will also be relevant in the AI era. So definitely AI will You know, some jobs will go away, but it's going to create a lot more opportunities for people.
Fantastic, a good way to land there. Country Director of Microsoft Nigeria, Mrs. Ola Williams, thank you so much.
Thank you for having
coming
me
on the program.
Thank you.
Well, we will switch gears now. When we come back after this very short break, well, we'll be talking about what happened at the 66th Grammy Awards. Join us again. Welcome back. Yes, this is where we reach out to, X and get there to find out exactly what the people have been saying. It's not just us talking. We always say that on the program. It's about you, and you. So what exactly has been going on? There's a lot. Kayode, maybe I'll hand this over to you. What exactly is happening
at this rate?
On
we're
X?
handing over to all Nigerians because the power situation has been a headache. And, it's more of a headache because it's been on for decades. So these images began trending over the weekend. One from the Abuja airport, of a power outage, which is what you can see now. And you imagine getting to the airport and you just come to this side. First, you probably just landed or you're about to leave and you're tired. You want some air, at least the AC we call it, or you want to maybe power your device. And then this is what you get. And then move over to Lagos, and you see this same one at the international airport. And this got a lot of people talking. That what is going on? There was a lot of debate. This has happened before in Heathrow. This has happened before in other airports. But this is just a pictorial representation of what a lot of Nigerians are going through. And true to that, the national grid collapsed. So.
Yeah, actually, I read somewhere, they admitted, we're going to read what they said, actually. We understand it went all the way from 3,000 to about 300 or so, but hey. But let's find out exactly. So those are the pictures from the two airports showing what happened. People were left in darkness and, but let's find out what you are saying concerning what you experience. It's not just what people at the airport experience. Because if you go to the fuel station, you see a lot of queues. Sometimes it's a sign that there's no light in the area. This TCN actually
gave an explanation.
TCN Nigeria actually gave an explanation to what happened. They say partial system disturbance today at 11:21 hours, grid fully restored. That's what they were saying. The transmission company of Nigeria, TCN, hereby states that the grid experienced a partial disturbance at about 11:21 hours today, with Ibompa Islanded leading or feeding Ekem Itu and Uyo transmission substations. That's from the explanation that they gave as far as TCN is concerned, Kayode.
Yeah, so that is for the general situation, but for the one that happened at the airport, because people are thinking, this is obviously not a national grid issue. Yes, national grid is responsible for some of the outages you've seen, but definitely not the airport. The airport should have its own backup. So there was an explanation from the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria regarding that particular one, saying that it was a switchover challenge and the rest. So that was the explanation given. Whether or not the explanation suffices is another thing. So FAN said we experienced a 2 to 3 minute outage at Murtala Mohammed International Airport yesterday. That's at that time, February the 2nd, while switching over to our backup power supply after losing power from the grid. But here's what we need to also raise issues about. The situation at the airport, Jeffrey, it leaves much to be desired. People coming from everywhere, literally. We always say, come to Nigeria, right? Come and invest in the country. They come and what they meet is not just these power issues. They meet officials who are corrupt, who are seeking kickbacks. That's the first thing they're asking you for, kickbacks, or people who just want to fleece you. I had someone recently giving us their experience that just at the airport they had an NDLA official telling them, well, if you want to go across, you have to settle us. And you're like, this is 2024, February 2024. They have to go through that, and then they have to go through long queues, unnecessary stops at the airport. This has to really stop, honestly. This is 2024.
Absolutely. So let's say that this explanation by the TCN, I think, was yesterday, Sunday. So what you're saying, Nedu Johnson says, what is this I'm hearing? National Grid did what? Well, it did what it did. Paddy?
Well, there's more. Some of these things you just have to chuckle and smile because, as I say, you cannot kill yourself, literally. There's more comments on the national grid because this is something all of us are feeling right now. I'll take a look at the next one. Let's see, the next comment on the national grid. It says, from 2 hours of power supply daily to national grid collapsing, when will common Nigerians enjoy the benefits of fuel subsidy removal? Bikonu. That's from Ikechukwu. Yeah, you had to go to Bikonu just in case English is not sinking in.
And this is coming from Kelechi Ojinaka. It's called transient fault stability. It can be done because I worked on the NIPP in 2010. First things first, there should be nothing like national grid. Okay, another round of argument about all of this.
Yeah, decentralized. That's what I think he's
trying to say.
The next one, let's see. It's very abnormal that the Nigerian national grid collapses every other month. That's the next one. It's one of the posts from Miss Balkis. The latest version of the grid code on NERC website was uploaded in 2018. Perhaps it is time to reevaluate the stipulations in the grid code. So again, another tweet pointing to how we need to rework the system. Obviously, something is not working right.
So we need to speak to the the Minister of Power on this particular one. Maybe he needs to give us some answers, because last year we experienced about 13 times. The collapse of the national grid. The collapse of the national grid happened about 13 times last year, and this year just started. I think we've already experienced one. So I hope it's going to be lesser in number this year.
It's not a monthly situation. And also the Minister of Aviation, we need to speak to the situation at the airport, not just the power issues, talking about the officials. We've talked about this for too long. And maybe that's why a lot of people are complaining about the situation of the country. Things are hard actually trended, Jeffrey. You can imagine a lot of people talking about the situation in the country.
That's it. Yeah. Nigeria will
never be better
if we continue to complain and grumble about the things we can't do. Things are hard, but when you look at it, the problem is double-edged. It's a double-edged sword. Let me explain. We need to change our habits, and the government needs to change as well. It's that simple. So everybody has a responsibility to change.
Baby Bambina has this next one. This concerns all of us. It says 1 derica of rice is now 1,200 naira. That's from Baby Bambina. Niger, which way? Says things are hard.
And it's coming from Simifola, says, because things are hard on you right now doesn't mean it will continue that way. Time will correct and heal you. Just be kind to stay alive. There are better days ahead. I like the optimism.
There's another optimism, actually.
Despite the severe or seriousness of the situation.
Yeah, and you can give that to Nigerians. Another optimism is from Stevie Ben. What would I call it optimism? But it's just maybe a reality check. And it says, it's so unfair because we Nigerians work so hard. So the bright side is that Nigerians are really hardworking, and a lot of people can attest to that. It says Nigerians work really hard. We don't deserve this at all. Things are hard, extremely. That's from Stevie Ben.
All right, keep them coming. We also have Soteria saying you will go to the market, see the new prices of stuff, shout and still buy. Things are hard in the country with the same salary you've been earning since 2006.
Well, that's the reality. In fact, if you divide it by what the Forex was then and what it is now, you realize that people are actually earning less than what they used to earn then. In fact, some people's salaries have been increased, but they're still earning less if you weigh it against the current state of the dollar.
There's actually a lot. So I was thinking about it. Must it always be that after a new leader, after successive leaders, we have things getting more difficult for citizens?
Shouldn't be.
So if you start all the way from 1999 till 2024, instead of things getting better, things are getting harder. So there's a responsibility on the shoulder of the President, Bola Tinubu, to see how we can help the country so that the common man, the regular person who doesn't know anybody, can have a bit of life and enjoy it. He always says, let the poor breathe. Mr. President, the poor, they are choking. Do something. Let them breathe.
Our eyes are on the governors as well, the legislators, the councillors, local government chairmen. all of you should also let the poor breathe. So it's to everyone, literally. But there are actually bright sides. We can talk about the tech industry. We can talk about our music industry. We have seen it's done well. So let's just dovetail into the Grammys.
Into the one that the netizens and the Gen Zs and everyone was talking about, the 66th Grammy Awards.
And to do this with us, Jeffrey, do the honors.
Okay, the one and only Bidemi, our, how do I describe Bidemi? Entertainment,
you see him on entertainment news, but we've dragged him.
We dragged him, woke him in the morning.
Good morning, guys.
Come, let's talk about what happened at the Grammys.
Where's the Grammy?
Where's the Grammy?
I thought you would have brought it with you.
It was a shocking night, if I can say that. Of course, it's mixed bag, mixed feelings, and all of that. I still do believe that Afrobeat won at the end of the day, but we expected more. We had a lot of excitement, we had a lot of anticipation, a lot of expectations as well. But it went the way it did, and it is what it is.
But I mean, we had high hopes. Some people stayed up.
I did.
You did, right? I mean, there was work this morning, but we're like, we need to see, at least if it's not, because you look at the nominations, right? Best African music
10
performance.
nominations in 5 categories.
You get
10 nominations in 5 categories.
The odds were literally in our favor. If you had to do the percentage in, let's take the example of Best African Music Performance. You had Ashake and Olamide, you had Burna Boy with City Boys, you had Davido featuring Musakis with Unavailable, Ira Star with Rush, and then you had Tyler with Water. So we literally had 75% chance. Let me just do the counting. 1, 2, 3.
It's more than
80,
actually.
80% chance.
Five nominees in one category.
Yeah, so 80, more than 75% chance.
So even beyond the numbers, when you look at the visibilities and what these guys have done, if you look at their numbers and all of that, you would easily give it to either Burna Boy or Davido, because when you look at the Grammy in itself, the way it works, people in some way still lobby for votes. You have the backing. Burna Boy has the backing of Universal Records, for instance. Davido has the backing of Sony Music. So you expect them to do all the gerrymandering behind the scenes, the canvassing for votes and all of that. But unfortunately, it went the way it did. But the good thing is, Tyler, Water, still Afrobeats, still Afrobeats, and still One Africa. The good thing is, we're now in the room. We're in the room. We're not at the table yet. We're not at the main table, but we're in the room. We're in the mix of a conversation and all of that. And a few years ago, last year, there was no
that category wasn't there.
It wasn't there. So one step in the right direction.
So for you, is it a voting category?
And that's Tyler.
Yes, of course I know.
We need to talk about this.
Is it a voting category?
No. So the way the Grammy works is they have a recording academy for the American music industry. So before we forget, it's also about the American music industry. Of course, they've thrown open their doors for some global presence and diversity and all of that, but it is still about the American music industry. So they have a recording academy, and the members of the academy vote to nominate the nominees, and then at the end of the day, still vote the eventual winner. So it's not a popularity contest. Really? No, it's not.
So because we're asking about the metrics, I know Jay-Z raised a bit of a question yesterday night. I was talking about, in fact, they were saying that Jay-Z pulled up a Kanye West yesterday on this particular issue of
no good for anybody.
Subjectivity and all of that, because it was, look, you got to keep the grind going. You got to keep it going, despite the fact that maybe you didn't win a Grammy and all of that, but keep the grind going. So I don't know. I know you interact with some of these people. In fact, Twitter, not Twitter, X was literally on fire. 30BG versus Wizkid FC versus Burna's team. It was literally on fire. But how do we calm the tempo? So, because now we're taking the fight home.
Absolutely. So it's a good thing that you referenced Jay-Z's comments, which I think was brilliant, by the way, and I was really happy to see him get such an iconic award in that space.
That's a Dr. Dre.
Yes, Global Impact Award. So yes, he mentioned a few things. He said there was a time he boycotted the Grammys because he was nominated for Best Album. That same year, DMX had 2 albums, and he wasn't even nominated.
But
and
he watched it from the hotel.
But he watched it from the hotel, and he questioned how much of a boycott that was at the end of the day. But he spoke to the fact that it's still, at the end of the day, opinion of a group of people. You understand? You will never be 100% you get 100% acknowledgement and all of that. So it's still other people's opinion, and you might feel cheated, you might feel robbed and all of that, but believe in yourself. You understand? It's the belief that got you that recognition in the first place.
He's actually said, don't just land on your
Yeah, it's the belief that got you that recognition in the first place. So keep moving, even if you didn't win the statue at the golden. Of course, it will look nice to sit on your masterpiece, you know. But if you didn't win it, it's not the end of it. And my message to our Nigerian contingent is that, of course, you expect them to be a bit disappointed and all of that. But hey, everybody's talking about them. The rivalry you spoke about on X, it's regular banter. It comes with the territory, it comes with the trade. You know, people want the bragging rights to be able to say, hey, my favorite is better than yours, you know, all of these things. It's not beyond that. You see, at the end of it, most of these guys that go on X and say, oh, Davido, this, Burna Boy, this, that, when they're out enjoying the good music, they don't stop dancing because it's Davido that's singing and they support Burna Boy. They enjoy all of it. It's just the banter that makes the industry sparkling.
So I know there's the banter. This banter has crossed over into football because Tyler, 22-year-old South African, emerged winner in that category where there were 4 other Nigerians. And on Wednesday, Nigeria will be playing against South Africa.
South Africa's Bafana.
Yeah, so since South Africa has won the Amapiano battle, even though the irony is she sang Afro.
Afrobeat, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she did. So
we'll take the football. Super Eagles, this is for you. But
no, they have to because, you know, the conversation before was like, we're going to, that after we win them in the football, we are going to grab Tyler from them and make Tyler come live in Nigeria.
And I think what you said is quite true. Afrobeat still won at the end of the day. When Tyler was going up stage to get that award, Fela's music was playing.
Yes.
That's what was playing.
Yeah.
So it was actually a win, whichever way. But you've referenced what Jay-Z said, that keeps showing up regardless. And he talked about this being subjective. Really.
At the end of the day, it is.
So it's not a vote of confidence or otherwise on Afrobeats. It's important to state that. But Bidemi, is there any other thing to expect? Is there any other award that we might maybe win this year? If we didn't win these ones, what do we look forward to? What do you expect from all of the artists? Ashake, Burna Boy, Davido, you know, all of the big names. What do you expect from them this year?
So for me, Davido in particular, Davido over the years has shown that he's able to take a lot of disappointment and use it as like a stepping stone to inspire other great songs. So for Davido, I'm expecting him to come out and say, you know what, Grammys, you have your opinion. I'm going to drop this monster hit that the whole world is going to listen to again and dance to. And then to show you that even though you gave the award to someone else, I still believe like he calls himself 001, 001, number one, Afrobeats, number one, you know. So and Burna Boy, those are images from his performance, and you could see how much.
Yeah, this is also history. This is history. This is the first time an Afrobeat artist performing on main stage, right?
Absolutely, yes.
That's history in itself.
Yes.
So we must posit that as well.
And if you look at the pictures and the background and all of that, you will see how he localized. Even he owns that stage. That stage became Africa, became Nigeria at that moment. You could see the talking drum welcoming him and all of that. So and Burna, when you listen to people who know him very well speak, they will tell you that he enjoys music more than the paparazzi around him. So I'll tell you, I feel like Burna Boy is going to enjoy performing on that stage than actually winning that trophy. Of course, everybody wants to win that trophy, but if he had to pick win a trophy or get to perform, I strongly believe Burna would want to play music on that stage rather than just pick up the gun.
Yes, that's a performance. And again, we must say,
giant, right?
We must also say that there are greats that never won the Grammys. I don't think Diana Ross ever won a Grammy. I stand to be corrected. I don't think R. Kelly ever won a Grammy, probably nominated. So, hey, that issue of validation and all of that, we need to check it as much as possible. Because when you hear Tyler say, I'm 22, can't believe it, what the heck?
And we have our own, we have our Afrimas, we have our headies, you know, and all of that. And those are also
that also brings us our own headies. Please show up our headies so that if they don't, you know what I'm saying. I don't want to go there.
You have gone there already.
You have gone there already. So.
Okay, but I think previous winners of
walk through some of the 2024 Grammys. Burna Boy performed alongside 21 Savage and Brandy, big one.
And that moment was very huge. You know, seeing Brandy come up on stage to join him on that song, you know, it's originally a Brandy song, and then seeing Brandy come up on that stage and join him, it was a very beautiful
Yeah, so those are past African winners, Kade.
Yeah, 1966 we had Miriam Makeba alongside Harry Belafonte.
Oh yeah, for best folk recording.
For best folk recording, we had 2008 Angelique Kidjo, 2005 Yusuf N'Dour, 2021 Burna Boy. So I mean, we can take solace.
Yeah, we can take
absolutely.
And I had a funny feeling. Again, you know, when it happens, when you get awards like that, you get overwhelmed. Last year, when Angelique Kidjo won it last time out, you know, she paid homage to Burna Boy. And, you know, a lot of Nigerians were expecting, Tyler, that you won this award. How about you pay homage to the, you know, the owners of Afrobeat? But she did say that she forgot a lot of things she wanted to say. So she was a bit
she said it, you know, and at that moment, you know, that's the kind of moment that sometimes can get overwhelming for you. You know, you have planned all of the things you will say, and then thinking that you may not even win at the end of the day, and then you get on that stage and then
for Nigerian,
some of these people, your own idol, some of these people are people you listen to, inspire you, and all of that. So we can forgive that.
We must. Besides I call them the big trio of Davido, Burna Boy, and Wizkid. Please, we must also give a shout out to Ira Star. She's young. She just came into the game, and she's already on that stage. We can also say that of Ashake. Look, it's not simple, it's not as easy as people think it is. That is music's biggest night. That is the World Cup of music. There's nothing bigger than that as far as we're concerned right now. Maybe Africa will change that trend. But for now, to see people at that age, Ashake just showed up maybe 5 years ago. I mean, he's been doing stuff.
Behind the scene, but literally take 2 years. But in terms
of popularity and all of that. So some of these guys who are with him have been there for more than 10 years and all of that. So shout out to Ashake, shout out to Ira Star. Don't worry, your time will come. You're already on that stage. It's going to get better. Maybe next time when the next nomination comes, probably there will not be any other African than Nigerians.
And just before we leave, I think I need to put this out there. So when you look at that particular Best African Music Performance category, it's not just limited to Afrobeats or the contemporary sound. If you look at the definition that the Academy released when the category was formed and adopted, even Fuji, indigenous genre and all of that can also come in. And if you look at some of the winners especially for the Best Global Performance and Best Global Album category, you see that these are music that are not even contemporary music. Some of them are not, you understand? So let's encourage some of our other artists in other genre to put up their work for distribution and for...
you're very, very true, because sometimes you're like, when they announce the winner, I say, where is this again?
Because you heard
Shakti.
By the way, they've done Shakti.
Yes,
I mean, if you see the instruments they play, you're wondering, how do you play instruments with is it a bowl with your fingers, and then you use your stomach to measure the tune?
And we have talking drummers here, and look,
speaking of...
No, so music is very, very huge and diverse, you can't... Everything happens.
Well, it's not the end of the conversation. You can guarantee that. This is not the end of the conversation. This conversation is going to go all week. Please, Wizkid FC versus 30BG. Shit the sword. We're all winners, because I know this war is not over. But relax. When we win South Africa on Wednesday, it's going to be...
We do have to win that.
Yeah, we have to win that. Super Eagles of Nigeria, we have to win. Bidemi, thank you so much. But before we allow you go,
I hope you're not going to ask me to sing.
No. You're not going to sing. We want to move to the next set of the conversation, but I'm sure you want to meet the next person we'll be talking to. Okay.
I want to say hello to our guest.
We're talking about alternative music. Gentlemen, yes. We're talking about alternative. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, she is. The one and only.
A standing ovation for her.
We're really celebrating African music.
Yeah, we have to.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Bidemi, I know you're not joining us, just to say hello to, this is your space.
Yeah, this is your space.
It's always good to have a conversation with you. Anytime I speak to you, I see some of your thoughts on the state of the Nigerian music industry.
Yeah.
So looking at the Grammys and the partial disappointment and the win for Afrobeat and all of that, what would you say is your own takeaway from, especially as an artist in the industry?
Thank you. My own takeaway is that I think we're beginning to, become overconfident that we own this genre, right? And we need to, we need to now look inward and develop other genre of music.
Nigeria is the Afrobeat capital of the world. We need to own it more. I don't think we're owning it enough. And this is a wake-up call for us that somebody from South Africa can actually come win Afrobeat category is a slap, boy. But also we're all Africans, but so we're welcome. But but then congratulations to everyone that was nominated and won. But now we need to go back to the drawing board. Absolutely. Yes, we own Afrobeat, but we need to own it firmly.
Yeah. One last question from me before I go. And seeing Burna Boy perform on that big stage, yes. Being very African, infusing the talking drum and all of this thing. How does that feel for you? How do you feel saying?
Sometime last year, I reached out to his mom and I said, Burna Boy is a giant, African giant. I would like, as the first female talking drummer, I would like to come with my iyailu and my talking drum and a chant to bring him up stage. When I saw that, I was like, whoa, this is beautiful. I didn't do it, but I saw talking drummers doing that. The talking drum is global. A lot of people have been doing that, globally for when I did something with Stevie Wonder in 2004 and it went like, whoa. But with Burna Boy, African giant, with that on the stage right there yesterday, I was super proud.
All right, there's a lot to talk about, but we have to let Bidemi go and have this conversation. We just told Bidemi to say hello.
And I was almost stealing your show.
It was just hello. We brought you to say just hello and then go. But now you've taken over the conversation. Hey, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Ara is here. Join us again.
Guys,
I didn't want it to stop.
Oh.
No.
You were not dancing?
No.
I just want to get lost in the serenade of the, is that the gongon or the dundun?
It's called
the
gongon.
Yes. So the gongon or the dundun, in dundun in Yoruba culture, is that drum that has the capacity to imitate the tones, the jibes of the Yoruba language, and it can speak proverbs. It can speak every other thing that you can imagine, praises, and it's a custodian of culture. And we have that woman who has broken the jinx, and made history as the first female talking drummer in Nigeria, perhaps Africa. Let's welcome again Ara to the Morning Breeze.
We had to welcome you 3 times.
3 times.
We walked in, we introduced, we walked in 3 times.
Are you not introducing me, guys?
No, I'm not introducing
Assistant
you.
Ara.
Did I do a good job?
You did a good job. Well done.
good.
Come for more classes though.
I will actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right, so nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Walk us through your journey. It's been decades and you're still standing. What are some of the high points of your musical career that will be most profound for you over the years?
I feel blessed to be the very first woman to play this very unique and beautiful instrument called the talking drum. The very high points for me are numerous to mention. But in recent times, seeing the younger generation, having 6-year-olds pick the talking drum and being very passionate about it, for me, that alone supersedes everything else. I have won numerous awards, performed globally, met a lot of important personalities. For me, it's more than just being a cultural or ambassador or preservation of our cultural heritage. Our culture is who we are. It's our DNA. You can't run away from your DNA. Your DNA is you. And one thing I tell people all the time, wherever I go globally, is that we must preserve what we have. In teaching the talking drum, people will learn the Yoruba language. They would get interested in the history of the Yoruba people. For me, that is everything. We have children in the diaspora who don't even have Yoruba names. One of the things I do when I go for my tours, I go for performances or my workshops is, you know what? There is power in your name. What is your name? And then they mentioned some names and I said, okay, what is your native name? And they say, I don't have a native name. I say, you must have a native name. My name is Aralola. My grandfather gave me that name. Ara was coined from my real name. Aralola means wealth is a mystery. Wealth is wonderful. Everywhere I have gone, my name has spoken ahead, has gone ahead of me. My name speaks. My second name is Onenibanola, which is an Ondo native name. He who has a father has wealth. Means that your father or a father figure in your life is very important. And I can tell you that my journey as an artist was made possible by my father. God bless his soul. So we must look inwards, be you Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, whatever tribe. Our culture is very important, and that is why I make sure that wherever I go, I teach my culture through the music and through the talking drum. We were on tour in Spain last year, which was what you saw. I literally taught them how to speak Yoruba in under 1 hour. The basic. I said, okay, when you come to Nigeria, you're likely to be in Lagos, right? First place of call. So there are simple languages of communication that you have to learn. Wa, Jeo, Joko, So, Ejo. So we started playing that. Guess what? The following day, we went for lunch, my crew and I. Hey, Ara, wa. Ara, Joko, Ara, Jao, Ara, So. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. So for me, taking the message of my culture, preservation of cultural heritage is very key.
Awesome.
What is most noticeable about you, at least first thing, before the talking drum, is your dressing, the fashion. I mean, literally from the top to the bottom, it speaks, culture, from your hair to the cowries.
Aji, yes.
But they're cowries, right?
Yes.
That's what they are. But essentially it means, in Yoruba, they mean wealth.
Yes, Aji is wealth.
Wealth, right?
Yes.
And then your outfit itself, the Ankara with the shreds and all of that, you exude, the culture, literally. And for a lot of people, that is not the thing in fashion. In fact, a lot of people are running away from the culture because they see the culture, and I'm talking either Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, they see it as local. They see it as the language, for example, they call it vernacular. And say, you don't speak vernacular, you speak English. If you speak vernacular, you're going to pay this fine and all of that. So a lot of people are moving away. Parents don't teach their children their language anymore. The children learn English before anything, and then you have to start forcing them to learn Yoruba or whatever language they didn't learn. So I need to ask you frontally, how, well, I say marketable is our culture in the first place? Because you seem to see the marketable side of it, but others don't see. So can there be like a meeting point to see first that our culture is actually marketable, it is rich, and it is something that we should be proud of?
Extremely. I agree totally with you. Our culture is highly, highly marketable. My last tour was in Spain, and I could see how well loved and accepted and respected they are of our culture, of the Yoruba culture that I exported. I said to my crew, I said, this makes me happy. There is no female drummer that will get into Spain today that will not be recognized, because I have gone there to make the way for them. Because I tell them, listen, I come from a place where my culture is very vital, very important. My culture is deep, and we have a very rich cultural heritage. Back home here, and this is not just about people in my genre of music. If you look at the Burna Boy, the Wizkid, and everyone, they had to go out of the country to make a name, to make a way for themselves. Then they became accepted. They became, you know. I have had to do that. I mean, from year 2000, when we started, there was no social media. Yeah. So I had to do that through my management then. They did a lot. They did a fantastic job of getting me very good gigs internationally with Stevie Wonder, Wyclef, Wesley Snipes, All for One, Usher, and all of those stuffs, you know. Now, the music industry has evolved. It has changed. I will beg to differ a bit on the fact that people are running away from the culture. Yeah, not accepted as it should be. If you look at Burna Boy's performance, you saw the talking drum. When Tiwa Savage performed during the Queen's funeral the other day, talking drum was represented there. Naturally, people will probably not even, artists in the past would not do that, but they're also beginning to recognize the fact that they have to be authentically Africans. They have to own their identity. The world is ready for Africa. You see a lot of African Americans trooping into Nigeria, trying to find their ancestral homes because their DNA has said, you are from this part of the world, you need to go. A lot of them want to reunite. I'm going to be out of the country in a couple of, and what am I going to do? It's for the African American, the diaspora, because they are yearning, they are hungry. I remember when I did my recording with Stevie then, I taught him how to play the talking drum, that's Stevie Wonder. And out of curiosity, he asked me loads of questions. Of course, we know he asked me a lot of questions. He had other talking drummers work with him, but for a female to, to be in the loop and all of that. So for me, we need to embrace our culture the more. No matter how sophisticated. The reason why I blend my outfit with... You
look like a goddess, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The reason why I blend all of this is to attract the Gen Z, the younger generation. I know the reaction I get with all my carries. Oh my goodness. When I go out, sometimes, because I do things to help me stay grounded. I'm not caught up, no matter what. I'm never. Maybe because I've gone through some phases in my life. And I do certain things. And then when I go into some places, I see the way they wear. They just, because of the carries. This was once
legal tender.
Legal tender. Ajay. It comes from the sea. But because Yoruba history has Ajay as Ajay Olokun. Ajay is the daughter of the of Olokun, who is the sea god or goddess, you understand? So, and in those days, Ajay must come to the market. Ajay will come to the market, no matter what, even if she doesn't want to buy anything, but to make you happy, she will buy everything and then take back. So that's why in Yoruba they say, oh, Shajewa, Ajiawa, Ajiabubajeo.
Oh.
Okay. That's our history.
We need to quickly translate that.
Yes.
For those
Did wealth come?
Did wealth come? You understand? That's the direct translation.
That's the daughter of the goddess.
Yes.
Essentially, used to go to the market.
Yes.
To we just buy things to make people happy.
Yes. So people
so Ajay was
money.
the daughter of Olokun.
Yes.
Okay.
So they will say Shajewa, Ajiawa. that is, may you be profitable, may you sell. So the reason why people demonize whatever our culture in such a way is that, because it is linked one way or the other to the Orishas. But everybody has a history. If you've traveled widely, you realize that every country, every culture has this history, this cultural history of having angels, deities, mythical beings, in essence, mythical beings. So the reason why people run away from our culture is because of this. Because they feel, it's demonic, it's, and all of those things. But no, it's beyond that. It's who we are, our culture, our history. There's no way you will learn an Igbo language, for instance, or Ibibio, or any of the languages, that you would not learn about the history of the people. There are some things that I wish I could say in Yoruba, because that's when it will be hitting.
You should. I can help translate it.
You very well. I would like the talking drum to speak it as well, and then you can translate it, because that's why you're here.
Yes,
we're going to dance eventually.
Oh, you will dance. Okay, I will speak when you want to dance.
Okay.
So we need to go to our root. We have lots of issues in this country, as far as I'm concerned today, because we are running away from who we are as a people. So, and if you lose your identity, if you lose yourself, you will lose your path. It's just simple, it's logic. Lose your identity, you will lose your path. So we need to go back to the source. Orisun. We need to go back to the source. And that way things will work better. And I hope, imagine me going out in this outfit now. They say, Ode. You understand? So, but then that is who we are. When I dress like this on the global stage, they love it. And they ask questions. And that gives me joy. I'm able to explain. Omo Yoruba ni mi.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I know that for you made success out of this path. But broadly speaking, for people who are looking up to you, how economically viable is it to be a custodian of culture?
I believe that I have set the path. I have opened the way as a female now for all the younger generations. And I know that already they are climbing that ladder. Some of them make drums. One of them made this drum. So it's not just about playing it, it's also about being able to make the drum. So I am working to make sure that whatever it is I pass through, they necessarily do not need to pass through that. So economically, I am opening doors for them. I am making submissions for them at the relevant quarters to say, hey, we need to empower. And that is why any stage I go, any country I go to perform, I make sure that I tell them, I am the first female talking drummer, but there are well over 500 girls who now play the talking drum, who are very good at it. Invite them, encourage them, give them a platform, let them be heard. Because by the time we do that, the ripple effect for them, our fathers in the rural areas also play this drum, who people used to refer to as alulubomieko. We now empower them.
What does that mean?
Wow, you just hit me the meaning of that.
Because
essentially, they didn't make money from it, right?
Like they're beggars, right? Like, so let's play, and then you give them cocoa, you give them something to eat. So they used to see them as beggars. But I changed that narrative. We are not alulubomieko. We are talents. The talking drum is beyond what you see. We are merrymakers. Our lamu borodu. Atunde. That's why I played that a while ago. We give. Sometimes, see, people say you don't give what you don't have. But we do. We're not happy sometimes. We're sad sometimes. Maybe depressed for some people. But the moment we pick that drum, we must make you happy. And the drum, Anyagalu, there's a deity. I was told by His Imperial Majesty Dioni of Ife that Anyagalu, the first Anyagalu was a female in Ile-Ife. But she left out of annoyance. Something happened to Oyo Atiba. Now, guess what?
That was in the 19th century?
I guess, yes. I'm a direct descendant of Oba Biodun Atiba, Alaafin of Oyo.
Really?
So, he told me, he said, perhaps you do not even know the reason why this drum you carry has made way for you. It is because because for those who believe in that anyway, because Anyagalu reincarnated in you. Because I remember when I first picked the drum, a lot of people, of course, said, I said, okay, so what do you want me to do? I will play this. Said, ni bimo, obere oni dun, koko ayare oni yo. I'm like, okay, some of my family features would not develop. I'll not be able to be a mother. Your soup will be sour. I had all kind of mates and all of that. And I said, okay, if this is the price I have to pay, perhaps it's worth it. But I know something tells me I'll be a mother. I mean, my son is going to be 16.
So none of those predictions or prophecies came true? No,
so which means that the culture itself has evolved. And I was happy, and I'm still happy, and I still pay homage to my elders, to the traditional institution, for not shutting me down, which means there is room for improvement. And, so we should be proud of our culture. We should. Thank you.
I started on that note for good reason by saying that you broke a jinx.
Yes.
So, and you have put many more female talking drummers through the process. Have they also defied culture? All of those limitations put around females who would like to go into talking drums. Have they had children? To be significant to know these things. And how were you able to get their parents, of course, who would know about these aspects of culture, to encourage their daughters to become talking drummers?
I think Ara being a success story was enough for them. I didn't even need to meet anybody. The fact that, Ara plays the drum, I want to play the drum too. Go ahead. They're seeing Ara performing for the Queen of England. They're seeing Ara performing with legends. Ara in London, Ara in Canada, Ara in America. Just like those days, you dare not play football. You say you want to go and play football, and you have the boldness to tell your mom or your dad that I'm a fellow ball. You dare not. So, but now that someone has gone ahead of them, they can see the success story, that indeed a man's talent will make a way, and this talent of talking drum. So most of them, in fact, I never had to meet anyone, but they would just call me. Once people see them, they message me, Ara, one of your daughters in Oyo, one of your daughters in Osun, one of your daughters in Lagos. And Yonwura are the youngest of them. I never met her, but somebody introduced her to me, and I mentor them. Some of them are married. Some of them have kids.
They have children.
Oh, yes, they do.
And they are super sweet.
Very sweet, I guess.
I just wanted to bring this in because first, we operate in the reality of Nigeria.
Yes.
Culture has now become a thing of tourism rather than a way of life. So it's an occasional thing. People go to the cultural sites and then they go back to their reality. Yes. So it's a very tricky one. But speak to us about, because you talked about going to the root, that a lot of the challenges we're facing as a country today is because we've not been able to trace our steps back. We don't maybe know who we are. So we're maybe just grappling through and staggering, trying this, trying that. And I'll use typical examples, corruption, for example. Apparently there were ways they used to solve corruption then, and it worked.
Yes.
We have, technology there wasn't technology then, but at least we have power issues. They had their technology. You get. So we have power issues, for example, epileptic power supply. When it comes to elections, there's still challenges with the process. I can go on and on. Moral decadence, insecurity. Monarchs were just killed, and I imagine that must have been a sad one for you, because the monarchs are custodians of the culture. 3 of them killed in the space of just a week. So is there any solution that we can borrow? Not borrow anyway, just implement. Adapt really from our orison, as you call it, from our source that can work for us in the present day Nigeria. You can talk about how it will affect the dollar naira rates. Maybe we can borrow something from there.
That's an emergency.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So is there anything we can borrow?
Yes, I feel that first and foremost we need to go back to the source. In those days, you would put your wares, your stuff on the floor and put the number of stones or cowrie that it should be. There was no surveillance camera. But you dare not go there and if something is for 2 cowries and then you put 1 cowrie and you won't. Because you're afraid that you might get struck by one of the deities, right? So you being sworn in as a president, as a senator, as a governor, you don't swear with Bible and Quran. Bring Ogun. bring Ayelala, right? Amadioha. Bring them, swear by those. Those ones, you see, religion, I won't say is our number one problem, but I will say it's also our problem. Christianity, God sends prophets per time to each region, to each continent, to the world per time as needed. Jesus came, is our Lord and Savior. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came, Krishna came, and a lot of them like that. Now, you see, in this country called Nigeria, I believe that we have good people, we have good leaders. The people ourselves, we also need reorientation. Because if we have good leaders and the people are not appreciative, my mother, I remember, was it 30 kobo or 30 naira? When bag of rice was 30 naira or 30 kobo, my mom would say, what if Pawani Louis, that they have killed us. So Nigerians have always been complaining. Have we ever been appreciative of any government? America, God bless America. Does that mean America is the best country in the world? I went to some place in America and I couldn't believe that I was in America. I'm like, but they don't show us this part.
No water. I mean, there are places in America that they don't have clean water, actually.
But they don't show us this part. I went to some places in Paris and I'm like, okay, so I'm in Europe, right? But they don't show us those parts. So first thing first, we go back to our source. Believe in your culture. Believe in your roots, your culture. Go back to that. Rediscover yourself as a people. When you do that, our leaders are human beings like us. We voted them in, either way, whichever way we like it. Let us learn as Nigerians. Even the Bible says there's power in our tongue. We keep confessing the negative. What you focus on will multiply. We keep complaining, we keep cursing. Can we put ethnic or tribal sentiment, religious, can we put those aside and put Nigeria forward? That is, if we want one Nigeria. Right. Can we put those aside and focus on what Nigeria is? Okay, when we play football, we all come together. We unite. You don't know outside, you don't know. When there's music, you don't know anybody, right? But at the end of the day, we are Nigeria. So if we could put those ones aside, and focus on the positive, let us appreciate and speak positively. You cannot stand on the land that you want blessings from and curse. You are planting curses.
I can see the preacher in a cultural attack. Beautiful. There's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot. But many more questions to ask.
Yes, but where was this one we're looking at the screen?
Some months ago in Spain.
Okay, this was Spain.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So you've gone everywhere. So, we can't wait. We're trying to say, wrap up, let's hear the drum, because this is a lot. There's a lot to talk about. So,
and every time I perform, see that joy on her face.
Wow. So maybe, I think you and Kayode, you're doing collabo now.
Yes,
where's my own talking drum now? Should I brought her out talking?
You will clap and she will sing.
So maybe you tell us what you're about to do, and then we just follow through. Before.
Yeah, let's just give us
okay. My producer say I have 1 minute.
1 minute, let's go.
So what do I do?
No, I can't miss this opportunity not to dance to the talking drum. Jeff, please stand up.
I'm trying to. Hey. So we should clap now.
Dance.
It's part of the rhythm. Hand clap is part of the rhythm.
Kayode, you're doing good.
How do I dance my village dance in this one?
So what's that? It has spoken. It said something.
No, reading.
Okay.
Just reading.
I spoke before.
You can speak again.
Okay.
Àwa la mú gbòòrò dùn, àtúndé.
Okay.
Àwa la mú gbòòrò dùn, àtúndé.
Dance. Let me see how they dance to it now. There's what to tell. I'm supposed to. You guys didn't tell us we're supposed to wear agbada.
Jeffrey, you can give us EBB hopes.
Wow.
Yeah. No, Jeffrey.
This is when we sign up for the show.
We're signing off. So thank you so much. Keep it going. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing day. Well, what do I say, Ara? So thank you so much, Ara, for coming on the program. We appreciate you. We're going to bring you more and more. So have a beautiful day. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma.
Yes, it's been fun-packed, inspiration-packed. Thanks to Ara and all our other guests. Join us again tomorrow. I am Bukola Koka.
You know, you can say Kayode will drop.
Kayode. Kayode. Kayode.
That's my name right there.
Kayode. Kayode.
I'm kind of